All right. Third time's a charm. So I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 7:05. And we'll start with the opening remarks. So I just want to say I appreciate everybody for being a leader in NPU-Y. It takes a lot to take out of your time, your busy schedules to come to these meetings. But I thank you for being a valued and active member of this community. Before we get started, I wanted to mention some housekeeping guidelines as usual. Please stay muted and to prevent background noise. If you wish to speak, use the raise hand features located in the reaction tab or the participants section of Zoom, and you will be called to the floor in the order that is presented. This helps with the flow of the meetings, as well as we are following Robert's Rule of Order, which requires one person to be on the floor at one time. Also, if you speak without being called to the floor, then it is considered out of order due to Robert Rules of Order, and there's a chance that you may be muted. If called to the floor, try to limit the speaking to 2 minutes if possible. If you are a city representative, please enter your contact information in the chat. Other than the first responders, I'm going to be calling you in the order in which you enter your information into the chat. I want to start off with a couple of shout outs. This month has been a progressive and fun-filled month. I want to shout out all the committees. Give a shout out to Jeff Depp from the Transportation Committee, who assisted in submitting a grant on behalf of the Lakewood Trail, which was also with assistance of the council persons. So I appreciate the council person for District 1 and District 12 for doing that. I think the grant was approximately a little bit over $2 million. So hope to get that, fingers crossed. Also want to give a shout out to Bernard Irvin Joyland, who's part of the education committee. He just got accepted to do his PhD work at West Georgia. So shout out to Bernard Irvin. Jason Brooks, who also lives in the Lakewood Heights community. He sent me a couple of photos. I should have showed it here, but he sent me photos of the soccer program at South Atlanta and the contribution that NPU-Y made for that soccer program. So I appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to all the neighborhoods. You all are doing a phenomenal job, and I appreciate the work that you all are doing in your respective neighborhoods. It's really making an impact to NPU-Y. So thank you. I would move forward in the agenda. Let me share my screen. If you're calling, I forgot to mention, if you're calling from a cell phone, then please use the, correct me if I'm wrong, Gloria, use the *6. *9 to use the raise hand feature and *6 to mute and unmute.
Yes, sir.
We're going to move forward to approval of the minutes. I'd like to solicit a approval based on unanimous consent, meaning that I'm going to ask for any changes or objections to the minutes. So I'd like to solicit a motion.
So moved.
Moved by
Second, Rebecca Robinson.
Seconded by Rebecca Robinson. All those who has any opposition towards the agenda, please speak now.
Approval of the minutes.
For the approval of the minutes. Thank you.
Right. We need to amend the minutes to remove the applicant from GoPuff. Does that need to happen right now?
No, we can just skip over them in the, we can skip over them. So
Okay.
we received confirmation that they are doing a voluntary deferral for this month. So that's why Heather has mentioned that. But we'll just skip over them in, during the voting matters.
Sounds good.
Is there any other objections?
No, I'm sorry, I got thrown a little bit. We were approving the minutes, is that correct?
Yeah, it's approval of minutes, but I mentioned that we don't need to amend it because I'm gonna just skip over them during our, and just mention that they did voluntary deferral. So they were.
That's the agenda. That would be under the agenda.
I am so sorry.
No worries.
All those, let me just bring it up briefly. That is, all those who wish to object, please speak now. All right, all those who wish to approve by unanimous consent, just say aye.
Any point of orders, Mr. Chair, any abstainers?
Is there any abstainers from, this is unanimous consent, but is there any abstainers? All right, all those who in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving forward to the approval for agenda, I'd like to solicit a motion for approval of the agenda via unanimous consent.
With the adjustment for GoPuff, or?
I would like to keep them in the minutes so that we can just note that they did a voluntary deferral. Email
So
was.
Second, Rebecca Robinson.
All right, motion by Kelly Jean, seconded by Rebecca Robinson. Is there any abstainers? Is there anybody who wish to have any amendments? With that said, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, approval of the agenda has been approved. Both the approval of the minutes and the agenda has been approved by unanimous consent. We're going to be.
Mr. Chair, the Solicitor Burns would like to know where a copy of the minutes are available.
The copy of the minutes are available if you go to type in NPU Atlanta in Google, click on the first link or the City of Atlanta link, and then you can just scroll down to NPU-Y and click the agenda. View it. All right, yeah. So you can just go to the agenda for March there, or you can go to our site, npuy.org. All right, moving forward to elected officials. We're going to start with the first responders. Is APD on the line?
Yes, I am. It's Major Ricker.
Hey, Major Ricker.
How are you tonight?
Doing pretty good. Talk to you.
So I'd just like to go over last month's crime first, just going over the part ones. There was one homicide that involved the unfortunate death of the 9-year-old over on Richmond Circle. There were 8 aggravated assaults, 4 of them involving guns, 3 of them being domestic. There were 0 robberies. There were 9 burglaries, with the most common thing, air conditioning units and copper. There were 3 auto thefts. There were 10 larceny from autos. Also, a common item that has been stolen recently is catalytic converters. And there were 8 non-vehicle larcenies for a total of 39 Part 1 crimes, which is down from 49 in January. Couple significant, one significant arrest that's been made recently this month was Monty McCord. He's been involved in burglaries over in the Lakewood, Jonesboro area, as well as a shooting that took place on Charleston Avenue, actually at 1 Charleston. So he is in jail in reference to all of those items. So the aggravated assault as well as the burglaries, one of them being at the Family Dollar. Wanted to touch again on what we're doing with the video integration system in Atlanta. So we've moved towards a platform called connectatlanta.org. And that's basically asking both residents and businesses to be involved in, for residents, sharing their potential video they may have, and for businesses integrating their video cameras into our system so we could actually watch them live. It is completely voluntary as far as the residents go. And basically what would happen is if there was a crime in the area, we would basically email that resident and say, hey, do you have any video from this date and time, this point in time, and are you willing to share it with us? And then it's still upon the resident on whether they're willing to do that or not. The business side is a little bit more in depth. It will allow us to watch their feed live, which would also be helpful for our officers who could actually pull it up on their laptop when they receive that 911 call and actually watch live what is going on their way to the incident. So we're trying to push that out across the city to anybody that's willing to partake. And I'm available for any questions on anything else.
Is there any questions for Major Richter? Sherry?
Hi, Major Richter. Thank you very much for your service. And I wanted to ask you, the new legislation that's being proposed at the state capitol, I believe it is, where it will allow habitual repeat offenders to not get out of custody as quickly as they have been in the past. Has that legislation passed, and do you think it is the silver bullet that you guys need to finally get a curb on these repeat offenders?
Well, I will say this. So repeat offenders are a problem with us, especially the violent ones. Routinely, so my last assignment, I was over our fugitive unit, and routinely people that were picked up for aggravated assault were out of jail in just a matter of a few days. And to me, that's the most concerning. We never want to put somebody in jail for extended periods of time for petty thefts. That's not doing anybody any good. Hopefully we can change their pattern. But the people that are out there actually shooting people and putting everybody in jeopardy, that's our real concern. Is those people should not be wandering around in the street to do it again. I'm not sure where they are in the process with that, but to me, anything that can help strengthen that side is a plus for the police department as well as the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gloria?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Major Ricker. We experienced several executions of warrants this past week in Lakewood. The perpetrator that you spoke of earlier, was that pursuant to a warrant that was executed on, I know you're limited as to how much you can give, but was that pursuant to a warrant that was executed on Charleston?
Actually, no. So believe it or not, that was just good old fashioned police work in reference to catching him involved in one of the burglaries. So we caught his partner, and we knew the person's nickname that was with him. And because we had dealt with Mr. McCord, unfortunately, on several different occasions, he's a frequent flyer for us. We knew he was involved in that. Now, after he had been picked up for the burglary and in jail, we noticed that there was another person named, and the only thing that they gave us, once again, was a nickname involved in the shooting that took place on Charleston. And with lineup conducted by the investigators, they positively identified Monty as the one who shot him. And so he was still sitting in jail when we served him with the other warrant for their aggravated assault. So,
Thank you. We understood there were several executions of warrants this week in Lakewood, and we're just very happy Lieutenant Welch has spoken as much as he could on them.
Yep. We've tried to do our best. We've had a lot of issues with burglaries over in there, as well as other crimes, and we're trying to, keep our finger on that out there the best we can.
All right. I'm gonna allow for a couple more, and that's it. Melody?
Hi, excuse me. Hi, I wanted to ask if there were any updates regarding the Lakewood, the shooting at the Chevron, where we lost a community member.
So there's no updates that I can share, except to say what we're still hoping we'll have more people come forward with information concerning that incident in reference to the people involved, as well as the vehicles that were involved on that occasion. So we're hopeful that we'll have some help from the community Crime Stoppers is obviously the easiest way that they can go without being identified unless they actually want to call and talk to our homicide investigators. We did have some video evidence that we're still working with. So but that's all I can really say in reference to that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Then the last person is Marcus. Call to the floor.
Hello, thanks. Quick question. What's the best way to follow up with the burglary? So I had one in my house about a month ago, but just haven't received any follow-up.
Well, I put my email in the chat. If you want to email me your information, I can look into it tomorrow. So the good thing about the burglary investigators, they actually are all housed in my precinct. So even though they're working across the city, they're all at arm's length of me. So I can certainly look into it for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Major Richter, for everything that you're doing for NPU-Y. It's been really appreciated.
Thank you. Everybody have a great night.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. Ricker. Thank you.
all right, we're gonna call Fire. Is anybody from Fire?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
My name is Don Cole. I'm the Battalion 1 B Shift Chief in this area. I just had a couple of things that I wanted to remind everyone of. I've talked to y'all in the past about the closed door campaign. It's where when you go to bed at night, make sure you close your bedroom door. That actually gives us extra time to get to you in case you have a structure fire in your residence. Next month, we'll be starting our spring hydrant tour. I'm not exactly sure what day. They're actually fixing to hand out some new iPads that will make it easier to actually track the information that we need, and it also will make it easier for us to share with Watershed. So hopefully it'll be a much better system than we've had in the past. And then the last thing, just remind everybody about car seats. If you need one or you need somebody to come in and go check your car seat, please stop by the fire station. The guys will be more than happy to check it for you and make sure that everyone's safe as they ride around Atlanta. So other than that, that's all I have. Anybody have any questions for me?
Is there any questions for the fire department for the benefit of the body? Please use the raise hand feature. All right, thank you, Chief Cole, for everything. Thank you for keeping us cool.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great night.
Yeah, and thank you for the quick responses on you all's when it come down to fire. You all respond very quickly, and I was a witness to an accident on Valentine's Day, and fire was really quickly on the scene, so that's good to see.
Awesome. The guys are really trying very hard to get out of the house and get there when they can. So that's great to hear. They're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, moving forward. Does 311, would they like to speak? Timothy? All right, I'm gonna repaste 311's message to the bottom of the chat. All right, moving forward to the SWEET team, Officer Lawrence.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Just have a couple of things to put out this evening. One being yard trimming will not be collected this week. We will not be collecting yard trimming this week. We are still on the bi-weekly collection until further notice. So we won't be collecting this week, but next week we will. So place it at the curb during your scheduled collection day. We also still have the yard debris drop-off site. I put those in the chat because I want to give out a couple of more things. Lately in the area, we had a lot of residents having trees cut down, and the work is being done by contractors. Unfortunately, the city will not remove those large tree branches that the contractor have cut down. So you will have to pay them to remove it. If it's found that they have cut them down and place them at the curve, it's possible that a citation could be issued. So if you have a business do the service, they're responsible for getting rid of the yard bats as well as the tree trimming logs or anything of that matter. Last thing that we have, we also been getting a lot of complaints about containers being left at the curb. So containers are not to be placed at the curb until the day before your scheduled pickup date, before 7 p.m. It can't be out before 7 p.m. And it has to be removed before 9 a.m. the following day after collection. Also, 20 or more bags should be scheduled for bulk collection by contacting 311. So if it's over 20 bags, the regular crews will not collect them. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I put my information in the chat. I'll repost it again. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Is there any questions for Officer Lawrence?
Officer Lawrence, I think she may have misspoken. She said 9 a.m. the following day. I think she means 9 p.m. Officer Lawrence?
No. The following day after collections, it has to be removed before 9 a.m. the following day after collections. It can be placed at the curb the day before by 7 p.m. The day after collections, 9 a.m.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? All right, thank you, Officer Lawrence, for being a valued person of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll repost my information in the chat.
All right, moving forward, we're going to go to the Department of Watershed Management, Leonard Bozeman. Calling you, Leonard.
I'm here. I was just having trouble doing my mute. I don't have much to say. Just letting you all know that Department of Watershed Management is about to start a series of rain barrel workshops. We're going to begin in April. As a matter of fact, the first one is on April the 14th, and the last one is on September the 15th. I put all the information in the chat. If you want to register, it's Rain Barrel Workshop Register, or you can contact me. I put my information in the chat, my email and phone number. And that's it.
Thank you. Is there any questions for the Department of Watershed for the benefit of the body? All right, thank you for everything that you're doing for Department of Watershed.
You're welcome. Thank you all as well.
All right. Moving forward here. Calling Attorney Burns to the floor.
Good evening. I'm Attorney Burns from the City Solicitor's Office. The City Solicitor's Office is currently open for business. We are currently taking cases. I don't have much of an announcement or too lengthy of announcements tonight, but I do want to mention, going back to the Lakewood Chevron shooting, I did receive an email from a community member as far as the nuisance property actions that we're working on in my office and adding that particular property to the list. I did receive it and wanted to let the group know that we are actively working on that list. We do have a lengthy list, unfortunately, of nuisance properties that we're currently working on. We have an active list and a rolling list. That property has been put on our meeting list to discuss due to the shooting at the Chevron station. If you all have any other properties you all would like to report to me or for us to consider for that list, please email me. I did put my information in the chat as well. Otherwise, Magistrate Court is open. The Municipal Court of Atlanta is open 5 days a week. We are there actively working in this solicitor's office. If you all have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me about any cases currently happening in the municipal court. I'm currently responsible and working on some of the nuisance property issues, as well as aggravated criminal and aggravated traffic situations. We know that the racing is a problem right now Also the laying drag and doing donuts in intersections in the city of Atlanta. We're definitely very vigilantly working on those particular cases and trying to put a stop to them along with APD. And that's all I have for tonight.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions for Attorney Burns? B, you got the floor.
Yes, I have a question, Attorney Burns. I sent you, this is Brandy Sharp. I sent an email to you about a week ago concerning 1778 Lakewood Avenue Southeast. Is that on your list as well as a nuisance property?
It is not on our list as a nuisance property. I know there were some code enforcement issues with that particular property. I did pass that along to the people in my office currently working on code enforcement. So I'm waiting on a status of that property. As soon as I get that status back, I will reach back out to you.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, no problem. And I will say to our chair and other people of the board, if you all have any other events coming up with NPU-Y, please also let me know. I would like to be more involved.
Awesome. I will definitely send you more events.
Right, just briefly, Solicitor Burns, your predecessor, I believe his name was Andrew Hughes. I may not have it accurate. I know Andrew was in the name. This issue with 1683 had been presented to him at least 2-3 years ago. He was your predecessor. Do I have the name
Yes.
correct? And we believe the nuisance action had commenced at that time. Did we just kind of get put back in the file or something? Or is there some way we can backtrack it based on our, is there? Yes, ma'am.
Well, okay, without going into too much detail, because obviously there's only a certain amount that I can reveal about currently open cases. Well, first, Andrew is no longer with our office. So, you know, those of us who are coming into the office are kind of trying to take on that caseload, and we're also trying to prioritize them. Unfortunately, as APD is aware, and many of you are also aware, just here in the Metro Atlanta area, as well as across the country, crime rates are up. So we are having to prioritize our cases based on, one of the things we look at is number of calls, which means like reports from the police and 911 calls. So we are trying to prioritize these locations by the rate of crime in those particular locations and how quickly the court can process those cases. So we are also at the mercy of like the judge and the length of the calendar and how much we can process, you know, at a time, and the length it takes to put these particular cases together. So we are trying to get those back on, you know, get that back on track, because obviously there's also some delay since we have been in the pandemic, the number of, you know, people we can have in a courtroom at one time, et cetera. So we are taking all of those factors into consideration. But again, please send me an email about the property and I will definitely check on it specifically and where it is in the lineup.
Yes, ma'am. We have quite a file to support you with as well. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate all the information I can get.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
All right. Thank you, Attorney Burns, for everything that you're doing for the city. All right, moving forward, we're going to move to Dr. Saunders, Purpose-Built Schools.
Thank you, Troy. I do have a few announcements. At Thomasville Heights Elementary School, the all-female robotics team, the Sensational Six, headed to the Atlanta Super Regionals last month, where they showed off their amazing robotic skills. And speaking of robotics, at Slade Elementary School, the robotics teacher recently shared that her 5-year-old kindergartners are already learning to code. That's amazing. Slater also continues to partner with local organizations to host COVID testing and vaccination events for the community. Attendees are also receiving snacks, goodies, and gift cards. The Price Middle School farm team recently hosted a tree planting event with Trees Atlanta and the Padea School, where nearly 100 volunteers showed up to help plant over 50 fruit trees and nut trees around the farm. They're going to have a very nice garden. Carver STEAM students headed back to Camp Island in person after a 2-year hiatus due to COVID. They spent 2 nights and 3 days engaging in team building and leadership experiences. They zip lined and kayaked and did a host of other things at Camp Highland. And Camp Highland is a full immersion experience designed to introduce our students to life beyond South Atlanta. Our staff shared that it was a very high impact and a great experience for student mindset and behavior. Also, Carver seniors officially reached over $2 million and counting in college scholarship money. Carver senior Bryce Bowen received his first D1 offer to play football at Garden Webb University. Finally, PBSA received over 100 applicants for the Carver's team principal role, and our interview committee, which has consisted of teachers, caregivers, and PBS leadership, conducted several interviews earlier this month, and we hope to have that person in place in early April. That is it for PBSA. Thank you so very much. Are there any questions for PBSA?
Is there any questions? Please use the raise hand feature at this time. All right, thank you. It's awesome to hear the young people learning the code. Sign me up if you need any help.
Yeah, I said the same thing, Troy.
All right. Moving forward, we're gonna go ahead. I think that's all the city, as far as department representatives. We're gonna move forward to elected representatives.
You forgot.
Well, I forget.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Gerard.
Oh,
Jackson.
I'm so sorry. Sorry, Gerard. I forgot the veteran of the crew. Gerard been here for the longest, I think. Gerard, you called to the floor.
I hope everyone is having a wonderful evening today. I want to just bring up a few updates from Parks and Rec. So last Friday, our after-school children participating in our after-school program performed at the AMP building. That performance was recorded, and you can view that performance currently on the AMP, that's Atlanta Music Project, Facebook page. So please check it out and show your support to the children performing in our after-school program. I want to also let everybody know it's baseball time. The City of Atlanta Rec Centers will be hosting baseball this year, and the ages are from 6U to 12U. So please check out your local rec centers to get further information and sign up so we can have a wonderful season. I want to also let everybody know that we will be hosting a spring break basketball tournament, and this is from the ages of 13 through 18. It will be April 4th through the 8th, and it'll be single elimination. If you're interested in registering, registration starts on March 25th, and registration will be at Zaban Rec Center. And if you can't make it out to Zaban, please check your local rec center, and they will be able to assist you with registering for that program. I also want to let everybody know, to curb the crimes in the neighborhood, the City of Atlanta will be hosting a midnight basketball program. The ages for that midnight basketball program will be from ages 18 through 24. It's free of charge, and people participating in this program will get free uniforms. Games will be from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And each team, the maximum people you can have in each team is 10. Please contact your nearest rec center to get further information to register for that program, or if you have anybody that's interested in participating in that program. At this time, if there's any questions or concerns with recreation and parks, please let me know.
Is there any questions for the benefit of the body for Parks and Recreation?
Me? Oh.
Oh, yeah. Please use the raise hand feature. Go ahead, Monique. You can go ahead.
Okay, so I'm like, can I raise my hand regularly? You're talking. I know, Free told me I should talk. I wanted to ask, I sent a request today for Arthur Langford, because there's been for a long period of time, a raised rubber mat on the actual park itself. And I sent the pictures. So I just wanted to make sure they get a case started on it, because it is a safety hazard.
Can you also forward those pictures to me so I can get a work order involved in that, so I can get that taken care of?
Thank
And
you
my
so
email.
much. Oh, let me
email-
go. Let me get your email real fast.
It is G. It's in the chat, but it's GA Jack at Atlanta spelled out GA.gov. And as soon as you send me that, I'll go ahead and put a work order in so we can get that taken care of.
Awesome. I'm sending it right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Attorney Burns, did you have anything?
I did. I just wanted to know if Mr. Jackson, could you repeat the ages for the baseball program?
So our baseball program is from 6U to 12U. And the way it breaks down is we have a 6 and under, 8 and under, 10 and under, and a 12 and under.
Is there any other questions for the benefit of the body? All right, seeing none. Thank you for everything you're doing. Oh, Dr. Saunders, just saw your hand. Go ahead.
Could you all send some information to that school, to our school for that program? I service 2 elementary schools, and I would like to get that out to the children and the middle school as well and the high school.
I'll make sure to connect with you. What happened was was going on, COVID was, and we shut down. So I want to start, since we're opening up, because we're doing a soft opening right now, but we're looking at during the summer to do a full opening. I'll start sending that information so you can get out to your schools.
Thank you. I put my address, email, and I'll get stuff in the chat bar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gerard, for everything you're doing with Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move forward towards the city representatives. We're gonna start with from the top, Misa Henry with the Commissioner Marvin Arrington office.
Yes, good evening, everyone. This is Meetsa Henry with Commissioner Arrington's office, District 5, Fulton County, Georgia. So I wanted to bring you a few things this evening. Tomorrow evening, Commissioner will have a virtual town hall. Basically, it will cover tax exemptions, registration elections updates, and congressional updates from Congresswoman Nakima Williams. So that will be tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. It will be streamed live on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and punch in FGTV, the information can be found there. I also placed information in your on your Facebook page. You can view via Zoom or the YouTube. If you have questions or concerns, probably the Zoom link will work better as far as communicating dialogue with question and answer. So I'll place the information in the chat as well, but it is also on your Facebook page. Also, we have coming up May 7th, the first Saturday in May, our annual Family Fun Day at Oak Hill Family Center, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, May 7th. And that will be at Oak Hill Family Center. It is free and open to the public. We'll have free activities, fresh produce, and activities for all ages. Let's see what else. The Arts Department, Arts and Culture opened up another $1 million sponsored by Commissioner Arrington for arts and culture nonprofits. So that information, if you'd like to apply, can be found on fultonarts.org. Do you have any questions or concerns for Commissioner Arrington?
Is there any questions or concerns for the benefit of the body? Use the raise hand feature at this time. Sherry?
Hi, can you, that's some great information. Can you put your information in the chat so I can get
Yes.
your email distribution list, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other questions? Thank you, Misa, for
No
everything that
problem.
you're doing. You've been doing great work with Commissioner Arrington.
No problem. Oh, one last thing. Please tune in tomorrow for more information on the redistricting. Due to the redistricting, well, Commissioner is he's running for commissioner again. This is his re-election year. So due to the new lines being formed, he will not be your commissioner next year. We're being moved further south. So more information in the town hall will be provided there. But once we receive the map, we'll send it out to everyone. We're basically losing East Atlanta, and that will push me further south as well. So our new constituency area will be Union City, College Park, City of South Fulton, Fairburn, Chattahoochee Hills. I'm forgetting one. Did I mention Fairburn? So again, we're just being moved further south, and your new commissioner would be Natalie Hall, I believe. But again, more information will be provided on the town hall tomorrow evening. But again, once I receive the map, I can email it to everyone, all the NPU chairs as soon as possible. So I see I believe the map is done, and I don't have it yet, but again, it will be released tomorrow, I believe, on the virtual call. But as soon as they present it and send it over to me, then I can share it with everyone else.
Thank you.
So that's somewhat of bad news. I hate to,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there was bad news. Sorry to see you go.
Yeah, definitely. Since the census, they basically have to balance out all of the, I guess, the population, the increased population. So we're being moved further south. So, yes, more information will be provided tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. online, YouTube and the Zoom, and I'll place the information in the chat. It is also on your Facebook page.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
All right, moving forward, we're gonna go to District 12 office. Antonio Lewis, Councilperson Antonio Lewis.
I'm sorry. Is it cool if I can come back and call you back in 15 minutes? Come back on. Something just came up. If it's okay.
Oh yeah. Just use the raise hand feature whenever you get back on.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, moving forward to is there any other current elected officials on the line? I don't see any other messages.
Cheryl Bennett. Cheryl was here. Oh, there she is.
Here I am.
Oh, Cheryl. Oh, hey, Cheryl.
Hey, how are you? I'm like, okay. I thought you said in order. And I was like, okay, maybe it's chronological order. But anyway.
In order to chat, yeah.
Anyway, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just have a few announcements. I'm gonna try to go fast. I know the clock hasn't started, so I already got a few extra moments. Anyway, I'm gonna start with, I hope everybody, all the neighborhoods that are on here tonight, got the form from Councilmember Winston. I think he maybe sent it out over the weekend about Operation Clean Sweep, and that you filled it in and got it back into him, because we're doing a ride along with DPW, and we're trying to make sure that the new commissioner and assistant commissioner knows all of our hot spots. Those places that are most egregious. We got illegal dumping, just people throw out the trash, you're getting off of MARTA, whatever it is. Hopefully everybody got something in. So he'll be doing that coming up in the next few days. So that was an important piece to get back. But what we discussed today is that since we got a decent response, we will probably be doing forms like that on various issues, just going forward, because every neighborhood has a different set of concerns or problems, and this will be his method to hear from the individual neighborhoods. So look forward to that. And yes, thank you for mentioning the grant that I worked along with Claire from the Path Foundation, and thank you, Jeff, for getting it on our desk to get it done in a timely fashion. And I'm wishing all of us the best on that. Then next coming up, probably after recess, I spoke with Gloria today. We're putting together a community town hall that seems to be growing every time I talk to somebody else in the neighborhood and a neighborhood. But we will be doing this. That'll really focus on public safety. And really the way we kind of see this is that we need to hear our statistics and then understand where APD is going to address those statistics, and then how we as individuals in our communities and individual neighborhoods can support and help APD with these issues. We're going to add into that DPW. We will also add into that code enforcement, because all of these things kind of somehow impact crime and other nuisance issues in our districts. Also, when we tend to bring different neighborhoods together, we get to share good stuff, bad stuff, pros, cons, and everybody learns from each other. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure that Gloria will keep you up to date on the actual date of this, but we look forward to working with you guys on that. And then finally, I'm going to leave with something really cool. May 21st, it's cool to me anyway, at Grant Park, the city of Atlanta has brought back the Neighborhood Jazz Series. So the coolest part about it was that, it's something that I've done with Councilmember Smith for a long time, but what was cool was when Jason came to me and said, hey, are we doing this? And I was like, absolutely. Because, it could have been somebody who was into punk rock or don't want to do jazz or whatever it is. But we got somebody that was into it. And we're excited about just getting people back together again. So come on out, mark your calendars. I'll give you more details as time goes on. It usually starts somewhere around 6 p.m. and it's over before dark, but we'll keep you posted on the time, as well as those the people that will be participating in terms of entertainment. So I think that's about it. Yes, we are having to redistrict through. I hate to even think about it because we don't like losing people at all. But it is what it is. But come to the Neighborhood Jazz Series. I don't even think about the redistricting right now. Thank you. Anybody got questions for me?
Is there any questions for the benefit of the body? Use the raise hand feature.
Excellent.
Nicole?
Oh.
Hi, how come we
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, I'd like to add Chosen Park's official emails to your email list. How could we do that?
Say that again.
I would like to be able to add Chosen Park's official emails for the board to your email list. It's going to individuals instead of our board as well. So it gets.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm not sure that we have something just for boards.
Okay.
Just so that your leadership board, but just send me those individual names to sbennett@atlantaga.gov and we'll make sure we add them.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I think that's it.
I'll put my info in the chat.
All right. Thank you for everything that you're doing with District 1. All right, we're gonna allow for one more city representative. We have a hard stop at 8 on, so I just saw a hand raised.
It's Representative Schofield.
Hey, Representative Schofield, I was about to call you to the floor. Yep.
Okay. Hey, and I won't take a lot of time. It's good to see everybody. I'm State Representative Kim Schofield, District 60, which will be the new District 63. And that, like everyone else, redistricting just pulls me out of Clayton County and I go further down to Union City. Just a couple of things. Last week was crossover, which means that all the bills pass from one chamber to the other in order to be considered for passage. A couple of bills that I want to bring your attention to is House Bill 1464, which is the new voter suppression bill. It crossed over just before midnight. It was a very split down party lines. And what that bill does is it gives the GBI the power to launch investigations into voter fraud without being requested by an election official. Needless to say, that's problematic on a lot of levels, but what it does is that it will significantly increase the ability to use the police to intimidate opponents. So I can talk more about that, but we're urging everyone to call their state senator and ask that they vote no on that bill in the Senate. The other bill was SB 171, which is an anti-protest bill. And, you know, a lot of time each year we see bills aimed at limiting people's abilities to protest peacefully. And so that bill, again, hinders and puts barriers on people that want to protest. The one that I know that we're very interested in are two bills is SB 319 and HB 1358, which is the guns everywhere. This is the permitless carry legislation. Again, a lot of these bills are just not really good, strong bills for our community. I'm for sensible gun ownership, but what these bills do is make it a little reckless. So we're asking you to call your senator, call the governor's office, and ask that those bills be vetoed. Last bill was HB 1084, which was the critical race theory bill that was passed out of the House, again, on party lines. It's over in the Senate now. We're going to continue to fight and push to stop that bill. And, you know, so those are the couple of things. I know I don't have a lot of time. I put my information. Yes, we've got to stop it. I put my information in the chat. Please, please, please reach out. I'd love to engage, hear your thoughts. If you're not on my email and getting my weekly newsletters, please email me and I'll make sure you get them. This session, we're ending on April 4th. And so it's been a very tenseful, tension-based session. Again, a little bit different than each session, but this one was a very hard session. But we did stop some pretty bad bills this one. And we were able to pass at least 10 Democratic bills out of the House. To find bills, you can go to www.legis.ga.gov. Those are all your state bills. Put in your name, your representative and your senator or senator's name. You'll find all the bills. I had 4 bills that passed. They were hijacked by the others. And so therefore, you won't see my name on them, but I can tell you all the bills that I did pass this session. And so I'll stop there for any questions.
Paul, you call to the floor.
Representative Schofield, I
Yes.
do not accept your characterization of these bills as voter suppression. I view them as necessary and positive. And if you're going to go down to the state legislature and describe them the way you do, you are not representing me. And I don't appreciate those characterizations.
So Paul,
I would love to have a conversation with you and just tell you a little bit why I feel and where my basis is coming from. I certainly want to represent you and everyone in the best light. And so I would love to have a conversation with you.
I just think there are reasonable reasons for the bill. That's all I'll say about it. And this characterization is totally unsubstantiated.
Okay, thank you, Paul. We got a hard stop at 8 on this, so we're gonna allow for one more question. Sherry.
Representative Schofield, thank you so much for your hard work on behalf of making sure that all residents have an opportunity to vote. I wanted to ask you about the number of the bill before you talked about HB 1358. I didn't get the bill number. It was between SB 171 and HB 1358.
Okay, let me get it for you. And I'll put it in the chat because I don't want to hold up anybody's time.
Okay, I will appreciate it, and you will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if there's any other questions towards elected officials, please add them into the chat. We have a hard stop at 8. We have to move forward because we have 4 presentations. We would like to allow time for presentations. Appreciate that. All right, we're gonna move.
Mr. Chair, if you would take a look at the last note that pertained to our Education Committee, it might be worth speaking on the election and the new PTA election. I think it's in the Carver cluster, I believe.
Okay.
Paula's
yes.
just reposted it.
Thank you, Paula. So Paula just reposted the PTA new board members for the Atlanta Council of PTAs. And I see multiple people on this call. And congratulations, Paula, for being president as well. All right, we're gonna move forward to committee reports. We're gonna start with the Transportation Committee. I think Jeff was online.
I am here. Good evening, all. It's been quite the month. I don't know if I have all my thoughts in order. Cheryl mentioned that we applied for the Lakewood Trail grant from the city. So that's hopeful on that. That would connect South Bend Park to the Beltline. We'll know more by the end of the year on that. Unfortunately, I don't have.
Let me go ahead, Paul. I just muted. I mean, go ahead, Jim. All right, go ahead, Jim.
Unfortunately, I don't have much of an update on the bridge over McDonough. I'm going to reach out to Borden Polk this week and see. I reached out to him last week and haven't heard back substantially from him on that. So hopefully we'll get an update on the bridge. We've had some success working with ATL DOT in South Atlanta, and I can share more about that upcoming, but it seems like they're doing more things in-house, which allows for quicker and faster small fixes. Large stuff still takes a lot of time, but we're working on a stop sign plan, getting some stop signs added on our neighborhood streets. We're actually getting some speed bumps added on the street next to Carver High School. And so hopefully that will mean more. I know there's some folks that want a stop sign down on Claire Drive and other places around the NPU as well. So once we got to get through this here in South Atlanta, and then we'll take what we learned and see if we can do it other places in the NPU. Shout out to MARTA. We had a bus shelter destroyed up here on Jonesboro Road in McDonough, and they replaced it in less than a week. So that was pretty fantastic to see the city do that so quickly. I think that's it. It's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. A lot of things that we're working on. I know Antonio Lewis's office and Jason Winston's office both are on top of a lot of stuff and are working on things. Unfortunately, stuff just takes a lot of time. I have reached out to several different neighborhoods to get a list of ideas of things that you all want to see done in your neighborhood as it relates to transportation. So that's all I got. I see Jacob's hand up. I don't know if that's for me or for someone else, but
Jacob, you had a question for Jeff?
Yeah, not really a question, just more of a statement. I was just going to say, Jeff, hey, from Chosewood Park over here. Just wanted to let you know that we've got a new committee set up, trying to deal with some of the issues that we have in our neighborhood. Julie Cobbs is our chair for that particular committee, and we've got a few meetings coming up with a few of the developers and a few individuals as well with Councilmember Winston, trying to address some of our issues. So just wanted to let you know, be on the lookout for some information coming from Chosewood Park, and we look forward to working with you.
Yeah, and I see your email in my inbox. Sorry, I haven't responded to you yet, Jacob. It's been a heck of a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
No worries. We appreciate it. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, and then also Jacob is our co-chair of zoning. Monique, your hand is raised. You have a question?
Yes, I heard about, I think it's the, Segura does bikes. I'm not, the Atlanta bikes.
Yeah.
And
Bike Coalition.
Thank you.
Bike
that.
Coalition.
And I saw that she was working and her team was working on the speed monitors near schools. I just got a speeding ticket at one in Fulton County, and I was like, oh yeah, that's great. We should do that totally. I was like, I'm not a fan of them, but then I was like, as fast as people going Pryor and all the accidents we're having, and we find it challenging to get kids to cross the street at Slater when they're trying to get to YMCA. I mean, it's literally like babies are running like a chicken across Pryor, and it's very scary. I mean,
Very
just
scary.
point blank period. And so I would love to see if we can support the Bike Coalition in their efforts. I saw the newsletter come out. I could share with you, but I know you are probably familiar. So
Yeah, no, well, couple things. One, that's why we're excited about the Lakewood Trail, right? Because they would give a back entrance to people to walk into the schools, not off of Pryor. So that's one. But I've thought a lot about that for Carver on McDonough, and honestly, I haven't thought about it on Pryor. So I'm really grateful that you bring that up. I mean, I think it's really sad that kids have to walk on like a 3-foot sidewalk on Pryor as cars are going 40, 50 miles an hour. So I know that legislation is brand new. The city is quote unquote testing it out or whatever. So they haven't really rolled it out yet. Pryor might actually be easier than McDonough because it's not a state road. So I'll keep an eye on it. I'll talk with Segura, and I agree with you that both Pryor and McDonough should see that, because cars just go way too fast, especially on Pryor where there's 4 lanes. Cars can go really fast there. So thanks for bringing it up. I appreciate that.
All right, Gloria.
Yeah, just quick, Jeff. We had within the last 10 days another 18-wheeler to take out the poles on Lakewood Terrace, and we were without power for probably, I think it was maybe 10 hours from 9:30 that night until, but the point is, I hope it's on your radar. Do we need to, we took images of both whatever the logos or whatever identifies that trailer. We took some images of that we could forward it to you. Is there anything we can do to help you with that issue?
Yeah, I mean, where are they going on Lakewood Terrace? Are they cutting through?
Yeah, pretty much. But and it's a real threat because the streets are narrow with clear prohibition signs for 18-wheelers. But they, when they turn the corners, they literally hit poles that that not only takes the electricity out, but it also creates a risk to the resident that are on those corners.
So let's talk offline so we don't hold up the meeting for. I would be really interested in learning a little bit more. I think a lot of the stuff the city doesn't put data together. And so if we can kind of piece together some data in terms of utility pole stuff and other things that get destroyed and kind of put together a little bit of a plan, I think we could get the city to move on it. So, but yeah, that's you and I chat offline.
We'll forward to the file that we've collected.
Yeah. All right, awesome.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward to, I'm gonna go down this way. I call it transportation, but we'll start with zoning. Bob and Jacob, did you have anything?
I'll defer to Jacob as well, but I just want to let you know, we have started having zoning committee meetings. They are going to be Wednesdays, the 4th Wednesday of the month at 7 o'clock to 8:30. I just put the link to that meeting in the chat. So anyone who would like to is welcome to join. Jacob, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll hop in real quick, Bob. Yeah, we do have a lot of new developments coming into all of our neighborhoods in the NPU-Y, and we encourage everyone to be involved as much as possible. If we could get any feedback from, particular individuals that are adjacent to properties that have new construction or have permitting going on, we would encourage you to chime in and at least give us some feedback and some ideas on how to deal with each individual property. So yeah, that's it.
Yep. And then I forgot to give y'all a shout out for the Brownfield, attending the Brownfield community Did y'all want to speak towards that briefly? The Brownfield Initiative?
Yeah, the Brownfield Initiative is an initiative that would be incorporating and involving environmental impact type studies. So if there are any properties that are, zoned industrial, that, are looking to be downzoned, or, anything that we think might have an issue with, any type of environmental issues, asbestos, lead-based paints, those types of things, please contact us as well, and we can add this to the agenda to send over to the Brownsfield Advisory Board.
Thank you. And the Brownsville Advisory Board is focused along the Jonesboro Road corridor. So down that way, going down from all the way from NPU-Y down to NPU-Z. So we appreciate the work that you all are doing there. We're going to move forward to public safety. Gloria?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, Cheryl pretty much laid out what we're hoping. Lakewood experienced another homicide in the last 10 days, and it was pursuant to, we confirmed 16 since the beginning of this COVID environment, which is early 2020, which is tragic. And at this point, the question is, what do we do? Who's helping us, and et cetera, et cetera. So Council members Winston, as well as Antonio Lewis' office, all of the upper echelons of APD, meaning I guess his name is Chief Tyus, T-Y-U-S. He has replaced Chief Murphy as the community outreach contact. His office, in addition to Zone 3 Command, Major Ricker, we're going to be holding a forum, a very brief forum. It's like a town hall. We're asking, I put my information in the chat, that you bring your questions. Some we hope that they will already have pre-screened. The real thrust of it is for people to feel like something is being done. We've got cameras installed. Notwithstanding the fact that we've got cameras installed, we still, are experiencing homicide in plain view of those cameras, and they're not catching the perpetrators. I mean, we've got 3 cameras in that corridor. Not all communities are dealing with the same issues, but again, serious violent crimes are at the top of their list. And we're understanding that several specialized units, Triton units, which used to be, I think it was the old crime suppression unit, in addition to the FIT, the FOD, all of those allied units are coming into the Southeast Quadrant. There were a lot of executions of warrants in the past week, pursuant to and not being admitted to, but there was an officer shot down off of Cleveland Avenue, I think roughly within the last 3 to 4 weeks. He survived. He was shot in the face, but serious injuries. Pursuant to that, there's been on the parks, the officers have gone in, ID'd folks. A lot of folks were warrants. They were essentially taken in. They think it's gang related because many of these folks seem to operate under the YSL gang, but nonetheless, it is heightened anytime you get one of them, and that's not just one of them. We deserve protection too, but it has heightened their execution. We saw at least one executed in Lakewood and 2 attempts. Again, we believe, and again, I did not get it from Major Ricker today, that the one that was arrested is a habitual violator by the nickname of Reds that exists in Lakewood. But essentially, we're talking about the end of April. We're hoping to leave with folks feeling, I think Stacy's on. Stacy is the author of a trifold that we're hoping will be used throughout the city that gives the newcomers basic information, lets them know that there's a local community meeting, also lets them know when the NPU, all communities that are contiguous who have the same interests and welfare in line. I think that's the biggest part of it, is that, yes, let's reiterate the integrated cameras. According to Major Ricker, it is completely voluntary, except for the businesses. We believe in good faith, businesses should want APD to have access to those cameras. What is being asked is that the community, if so inclined, register with APD that they're willing to take a call should APD determine that maybe there's some intelligence along that route. It is completely voluntary whether you release the video of that red Mustang whose tag is clearly viewed or not. It's completely voluntary, but it's all a part of a bigger effort under this community police relations. And that's it in a nutshell, essentially.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move to education.
Hi, can I share my screen?
Yep, yours.
All right. Hi, everybody. So we meet the second Monday of the month. We met the second Tuesday because some things are happening in our community and we had to get to a meeting for education. But I wanted to start with this screen. This is a screen that was shared for facility master planning from Atlanta Public Schools. And this screen is really important because it tells us at what point will APS take action and be triggered to consider alternative uses for the facilities. This is important where you have kids or not, because the facilities in our community are in the blue, which is below 55%. All right. Most of our northern schools are in the red. They are at 90% over, and they will no longer accept administrative transfers, class scheduling changes, or any of those things. So I want you to be aware of where we are. So I'm going to show you the next screen that is very, very important about these triggers. So on slide, and I'm going to put all of this in the chat for everybody to see. So on slide 23, yes, slide 23, this is the image that they put on the screen. I'm sure you guys can read a map and see that most of the blue dots, meaning under 55%, are in what region? Ours. And so because most of the blue dots are in our region, we are the most likely for the triggers of a consideration of other alternative uses for schools to happen, meaning closures, mergers, and the like, right? And so it's incumbent upon us, kids or no kids, in our neighborhood schools or not, for you to be involved, for you to start engaging. And so thankfully, we have our amazing council of PTA members on the call. And I'm super excited and fired up for Paula and for Waukesha and for Alicia and for all the amazing people who are about to do this work to get parents engaged and the community, because we see this is urgent. Although we are not in the red, freeze like that. Although we're not in the red right now, right? Meaning we're on fire. The red now means you're overcrowded and need more facilities. We're in the blue, which is really, to me, urgent, almost in the red, right? Because it means our schools could be closed. We can have big old empty buildings being spaces for crime, being spaces to house people that we don't want in our neighborhoods. So we need to make sure we're all getting behind our kids, supporting strong PTAs, and making sure this is possible. So what they propose in Carver cluster is to add Dunbar Elementary. So as you can kind of see, Dunbar is up here in this corner in Mechanicsville, and they would feed into our middle and high schools. As you can imagine, our schools are low performing. And so those parents were very upset to know they would be redistricted away from Jackson, a high performing high school, and into a Carver cluster with our high school, half of our high school options not being the best options for their students at this time. And so we're advocating, and this gets to what we did discuss in our meeting, we're advocating at our Carver Cluster Strategic Planning meetings, which the next one is March 29th. We're talking about, do we want to be STEM certified or interbaccalaureate certification? So if you're interested in those conversations, please share more with me and email me. We're also talking about this, of course, facility master plans. We are also opening a Carver Cluster Foundation. This means we need to be raising money on behalf of the cluster. So that's really, really important because, again, our cluster is seeing a lot of divestment. So I think it's really powerful that we invest if our community is seeing a lot of divestment from human capital, meaning kids aren't going into the schools, as well as money directed and targeted and used well is not going into our schools. And so we want to make sure we're getting the right robust programming that attracts families into our schools as we get new people on, right? So that public safety brochure can also be accompanied by a brochure about our schools and some programming, which we're hoping purpose-built schools in our neighborhood would be willing to do open houses and share toddler parent play date opportunities so we can get our prospective families to learn more about our schools. And as you know, Slater is merging with Thomasville Heights Elementary Schools. They're closing because of housing issues down there. And so we will see some of those children, if they do choose, and those families into our neighborhood, and they would be going to Slater starting next school year in August. So just kind of be cognizant of that as you see new families and new people in the community. I think that is it. Our next meeting is April the 11th at 5 p.m. And I'll shoot you the email. Oh, I'll put the minutes and stuff in the chat. If there are any questions.
We don't have time for questions, sorry.
What? This is, let me tell y'all, this is a really important thing, guys. I just want y'all to know.
Yeah.
So ask questions in the chat, please,
Yeah,
because
please,
y'all
yeah.
see all this blue?
Oh, yeah. We see it.
It's very important. It's very important. We are going to, we have to hard stop it. Apologies. I'm gonna just quickly go through each of the other committees because we have to hard stop at 8:20 so we can have time for presentation. Time for presentations. So with the communications, we're going to be doing some major communication outreach over the next few months. Heather is working on a email campaign to help outbound newsletters for NPU-Y. So we'll be sending 2 emails per month from NPU-Y. You all voting members should have received a text or email today. So I personally sent out text to voting members. If you have not and you think you're a voting member, please reach out to the executive team and we'll add you to the list. Bylaws, there is a couple of changes that will propose in the next meeting. I'll reach out to the bylaws chair, Russell. For Lakewood oversight, Yolanda, I think she may be on the call. She always on the call, but they're renaming the Solarius. They renaming it back from Solarius to Lakewood Amphitheater because Solarius is soon to be no longer a sponsor. Also, they met with Yolanda. Can you briefly speak towards it? Are you on the call? All right, so they renamed, and as well as they have a slate of different essentially the concerts, different concerts that's coming up at Lakewood Amphitheater, and they will have a calendar tour shortly. Lakewood Finance, Kanika, did you want to say anything towards that briefly? No, she was on the call.
She was earlier. She may still be. Let's
Okay.
see.
Yep. So Lakewood Finance don't have a report for Lakewood Finance. APAB, Gloria can probably speak to. I gotta move through this really quickly, but Gloria, if you add like the notes from the last APAB meeting into the chat, they are planning to move in person, which is going to be a fun thing to do. Also, the advisory ad hoc committee. I'm probably going to extend this advisors to all neighborhood leaders, as well as past executive NPU-Y chairpersons and its executive committee. So look for that shortly. For the special projects ad hoc committee, Nicole, I forgot to give her a shout out, but she single-handedly submitted the application for the community impact grant. So Nicole did great work over the last month to submit it to the city. And we're still looking to hear back from the city with the work that she submitted. We already voted on it in the last meeting of what we plan to do for the impact grant. And then there's no meeting for nominations. I wanted to briefly go through that. Did anybody have any other chairs had anything to add?
I think Councilmember Lewis' office has come back in as well.
All right. Nicole, I'm gonna allow Nicole to speak before. So Nicole, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm just going to throw my email in the chat, and part of our CIG is for web connectivity. So if you need any assistance in your community for your website or for engagement for your residents, please reach out to me and we'll conjoin forces to make sure that you're included on the CIG.
All right, thank you.
Nicole, they may not know that CIG is the Community Impact Grant.
Yep, CIG's Community Impact Grant.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and yield the floor to Paul briefly from Councilperson Lewis' office.
Yes, good evening, everyone. For those that know me, I'm Paul Hobson, I believe it's my first time in this meeting. I am one of the NPU liaisons for Office of Antonio Lewis. But a few updates that I do have, and I'll be as brief as possible. So they met in DC not so long ago. He recently met with Senator John Ossoff, the local American Transit Union president, as well as the international vice president for the American Transit Union. The nation's strongest, it's the nation's strongest transit union that represents the MARTA workers here in Atlanta. So they discussed MARTA breaking its promise with LRT and possibly possible next steps. Our team is working to create solutions to ensure Atlanta public transportation is truly equitable. As far as the art task force, their purpose is to ensure that our community can pull arts and cultural resources to encourage more appreciation of the places we call home. So I know there's opportunities for working with the arts, artists and youth to beautify our neighborhoods before gentrification ever happens. So please submit possible art projects or ways that we can use art to beautify our neighborhoods to my office. We also discussed short-term rental legislation being presented today. They presented a short-term rental legislation that will require new short-term rentals to be certain distance from other rentals. And if you want other questions, you can reach out to me in an email, or you can email his chief of staff, Mr. Michael, which I already put in the chat earlier. So I'll just go further down. Also, they presented legislation to put a moratorium on city demolition of residential properties. Several people have called ours and other offices saying that the city has not done. Sorry about the sound outside. We have 8 people attended committee hearings.
Oh, I think it disconnected, Paul.
Rose.
Uh-oh. All right, so we'll go ahead and move forward and we'll fit them in where we can, but that was all good information. We're gonna go ahead and move briefly. Oh, there he is. He just joined. Paul, you there?
I'm sorry, my phone dropped.
That's
But
okay.
that was pretty much it. Besides the demolitions taking place and legislation is going to a committee. So that's all I pretty much had for his reports.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the work that both Councilperson Lewis and Councilperson Winston is doing for our community. Thank you for being so engaged.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move forward to matters of voting. We're gonna move forward to matters of voting. So I briefly speak towards both. Is there any representatives online before I speak towards it?
Yes, there is Mr. Khan from the 1634. I see Mr. Khan, he's 1683, but I don't know if he's got any involvement with 1634.
Oh, okay. Is there any specific persons who is the applicants on the line? All right, so essentially in both cases, they asked for a voluntary deferral. So I would actually like to solicit a motion for a slate on voluntary deferral on both of them. So I've gotten the request from the city for GoPuff. They want to move their date to May and continue to speak with the residents of the community. So they will be having a presentation in May towards the LRB, so they have more time to speak to residents.
Move that we consent to move both these, both the Quick Pick Food Mart as well as GoPuff to the consent agenda for a deferral.
All right, so moved by Gloria. Can I get a second?
Second, Chris McCord.
Second by Chris McCord. Is there anything to mention for discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close out discussion and move towards a vote for voluntary deferral for both Quick Pick Food Mart, Lakewood Avenue, and GoPuff. All those who are in favor, please use the raise hand feature at this time. In order to be a voting member, you must have attended 3. This will be your 3rd meeting of the last calendar month. I also sent a text or email to you today.
Current tally is 17 in favor.
18?
Now 18.
18 in
Uh, We've got 19 if Jacob is voting from the chat, I believe. So we've got 19 with Jacob's vote.
All right, 19 in favor. I'm going to close. I'm going to clear the feedback at this point. All those who wish to oppose the deferrals, the voluntary deferrals.
None in opposition.
Thank you. All those who wish to abstain.
1 abstainer.
All right, motion carries. What's the vote?
19 in favor, 0 in opposition, and 1 abstainer.
Yep. So motion carries 1901.
Let me absolutely confirm that. Heather, you're confirming those figures as well.
Yep, good to go.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, moving forward to presentations. We'll start with the Fulton County government.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hey, Alex. Good to see you.
Hey, how you doing? Can I share my screen?
Yep.
Thank you.
Ours all yours.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, NPU-Y. Good to be here. I'm Alex Trachtenberg. I just put my information in a message in the chat, along with a link to our webpage. I'm the Energy and Sustainability Manager for Fulton County, and here to share an update about our Resilience Hubs project we've been working on for the last couple of years. So I'm gonna go relatively quickly. I don't have a lot of time, I know. Partnership with South Base Institute. We got a $300,000 grant from the Southeast Sustainability Directors Network, and we've been looking at 3 sites, so 3 existing Fulton County facilities, one on the west side in Vine City, Neighborhood Union Health Center, Metropolitan Branch Library in Southwest Atlanta off Metropolitan Avenue, Capitol View, Capitol Manor, and closest to you all is the Louise Watley Library at Southeast Atlanta. So we've actually selected our first site for implementation. Went through a long, robust process, got a lot of good community input, did a lot of analysis, assessment, looked at the buildings, et cetera. And we've selected Metropolitan as the first site for our Resilience Hub, but that doesn't mean we're not going to keep trying for additional resources and funding to implement Resilience Hubs at these other facilities as well. Here are the goals. And we're looking at resilience from 2 angles. So community resilience. So, generally resilience is the capacity to anticipate, prepare for, respond to, and recover more stronger than before to threats, stresses, shocks, et cetera. Could be socially related, economic, environmental. Also looking at it from a climate perspective and the fact that we are causing climate change and a variety of different threats, temperature change, precipitation variability, et cetera, and looking at this with a lens of equity as well. So we're looking at different layers as far as a resilience hub goes and what is a resilience hub. So this is a place that provides temporary shelter for community members and local neighborhoods in times of need. So if there's a hazard or a disruption, a power outage, a big storm, it's very hot, it's very cold, people have a place to go nearby to recover, to be in community with each other and access resources and basic needs. How we can do that is with solar energy, with battery storage tied to the solar, with rainwater harvesting to give us backup power, as well as water supplies, as well as functioning as a day-to-day resource center, as these libraries and health centers do already. So a place for programming and services and education, job training, health services, arts and culture, programming for youth and after school, a place to distribute resources as well. I think folks have maybe come out to some of our smart thermostat giveaway events that we've been hosting at Metropolitan Library, a variety of those kinds of things, and certainly emergency response and preparedness training as well. The different modes, so not just in a disruptive state or an emergency, but also looking at it every day and making sure people are well prepared and have good access to services and resources they need. And after a disruption where there's a major shock to the system or a stress, a pandemic would certainly be included. Within that, making sure that people have what they need to recover, but not just get back to normal, but get back to something that was better than before, and we're in a more prepared state. Some of what we've done thus far, we did 2 rounds of community engagement sessions for each of the 3 sites. And we also hosted pop-ups at each of the facilities. So we were out at the facilities, had some events, had some giveaways and some ice cream trucks and some fun. And it was a good way to meet community. I mentioned the thermostat giveaways, had some of those donated by Georgia Power to help alleviate energy burdens. Folks, as you all know, in your neighborhoods and areas in particular, pay a lot of money on their energy or their power bills compared to others. We're going to be looking to build and distribute resilience kits. So think about these as emergency supplies and resources. These are things that are going to be happening in Metropolitan Library, but hopefully at these other sites like Southeast Atlanta Library as well, as we get additional funding. Building a community garden, and working on training and activation for how we operate the hub during everyday disruptive and recovery modes. Some more of the things that we've been doing, done a bunch of building assessments, looking at the energy and water efficiency and the resiliency of the facilities and their current conditions. Feasibility studies for rainwater harvesting and solar photovoltaics and battery storage. I should mention all 3 of these facilities already have rooftop solar arrays on the facilities. And then we're currently working on design and engineering for the rainwater harvesting and solar and storage systems. Well, the storage systems combined to the existing solar, I should say. And we're also going to be putting in some electric vehicle charging stations. And of course, this will iterate and evolve over time, but these are some of the first things that we're going to be doing at the Resilience Hub at Metropolitan. And again, this is just our first one, be the county's first, likely the state's first. And we hope to do more of these and have it serve as a demonstration model for other facilities and communities. We'll be implementing this year. So by the end of this year, certainly, we will have implemented the first site. There's my contact info, as well as the info for my colleague, Imani Love with Southface, our main partner, but certainly a lot of other great partners have been helping us out. I will stop my share, but I will put my presentation and a project description in the chat for y'all to check out. Please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions or thoughts about this or about anything to do with the environment and sustainability in Fulton County. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll allow for 1 question. I see Monique.
Hey y'all, sorry. Alex, I was at our library today with my daughter, and there were 7 teenagers sitting in the lobby that sell water. And when I walked up to them, no one had asked them, do they want a library card? Nobody checked on them. No one engaged them. Actually, it was pretty weird that they just kind of seemed like they were not interested in working with those students. And those are our kids who we complain about litter. We complain about them not knowing how to do blah, 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 blah. I got them my information and gave them my phone number directly and told them to text me. We will see. I will give you their information and we can work through it. But I think that they're 15 through 18. And they were sitting in the middle of the lobby to get air, Wi-Fi, and some water, and some chips. And they were sitting there minding their business, not doing nothing. And it just seemed like nobody wanted them in the library. So I wonder about your resilience hub when the environment, no shade to whoever's running the show, but the environment didn't feel like they wanted young people there. They want a certain kind of people there, but maybe not young people. And if you're talking about resilience, then those are the people you want. Yeah. And if the environment is not conducive, then let's have a conversation about how to make it. Because the teen center room was even locked.
Yeah.
So we got to have a conversation about how to open these doors if you're going to partner there and create a resilience hub where the people that we
Yeah.
need to be making resilience hubs for are not welcome, and they felt that.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you and understand that. Are you talking about at Southeast Atlanta or at Metropolitan?
Southeast Atlanta, Watley. So the boys that sell the water at university, I see them every day. I talk to them. And so I just walked up to them and I was like, has anybody asked you if you want a library card? They said no. So I think that's something we need to talk about, because you're not going to get the people you need and your service won't be useful if we're not targeting the right people.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That shouldn't be the case. You know, I don't know what was going on, but from what you're saying, you know, that certainly shouldn't be how we're engaging people at our facilities and our libraries. So I'm happy to reach out to the branch manager if you like.
Well, I'm gonna do that myself. I am
Okay.
just saying, for your development and design,
Gotcha.
we need to have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
For sure.
Monique, you got muted. Go ahead and finish your statement.
Oh, I said just to make sure the resilience hub really is about resilience.
Yeah.
Because if you get a lot of people like me who's very resilient, then it just, you know what I mean? Like you want people in there that are possibly doing the thing you're saying, and you're, you know what I mean? And it's our young people who need this work, but there's no created space for them. So I'm gonna do this work with you, and I'll keep you along about the youth side, right? Because that's me. I'm the youth part. But like, and so I'm not needing any advocacy on my behalf or my baby's behalf, but I'm just letting you know that if there's not a welcome space, like when you go to Metropolitan, there's a welcome environment for teenagers. At ours, there's a certain type of person they want in that facility, and I know it. So the way they engage me and my daughter was very different from how they engage those people. What'd you say?
No, I said we got to go ahead and move forward.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, let's talk. I got you.
All right. Thank you. Paula, go ahead. Paula, you call to the floor. President Paula.
No. Hi, Alex. Are there any plans in your budget for resilience projects for the two buildings here along Jonesboro? One is right next to the Carver High School property. It's right there on the edge of the campus. And it's in pretty bad shape for kids to be around it. There's another one on Jonesboro, close to the corner, not far from Jonesboro and Sawtell, that is pretty derelict, that might turn into something cool for community. I just don't know what your budget is, and you know what you're looking at. I could see some work that looked like it was done by Dream, but if there is anything potentially left, you know, we've got a couple vacant buildings that could serve students right here along Jonesboro.
Yeah, for sure. I wish I could tell you I had a budget. I don't. I'm working on it. I think we're going to get some budget this year. It's almost, you know, we're almost through first quarter of the year and I don't have budget yet. So what we have the budget for this Resilience Hubs project is grant funded, and it's not inexpensive to buy things like battery storage and rainwater harvesting and develop programs and improve operations. So I'm hopeful that we can continue to get additional grants and funding. There's a lot of money that's going to be flowing through the federal government from the Infrastructure Act. I actually just submitted a proposal to the congressional offices, and I'm coordinating on that with our government. So I'm trying for sure. I want us to do this kind of thing at all of our facilities. I know we have a lot of need across the county, particularly on the south side. So I guess all I can say is I'm working on it, but we don't currently have plans for those, but happy to follow up, you know, offline and look at those particular facilities or something like that and see what we can do. But
all right. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it.
yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Troy.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you, President Paula.
Stop it.
All right, moving forward, we're going to move forward to the Brownfield grant. Brian Fredo.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me. I will need to share my screen as well for a little presentation.
All right, it's yours.
Go. All right, thank you, everyone. I'm assisting and working with the Office of Zoning and Development on the City of Atlanta's Brownfield program, and we are in the process of looking for sites to enroll within our program. First question is, what is a brownfield? We all kind of have a familiar idea what it is. It's an old site that whose reuse, redevelopment may be complicated by the presence of potential hazardous substances, pollutants, or contaminants. Gas stations are a pretty good example here we see in the picture. Currently, the city has two different grants. There's an assessment grant that provides funding to take samples and assess the potential for impacts at a site. And then a revolving loan fund grant that can provide funding to help clean up the site following all the assessment activities. Since 1996, the city has had some type of brownfield grants from the EPA, whether it was assessment, revolving loan fund, area-wide planning. Over the course of that, over $5 million in funding has been available. And this is a little summary of the facilities that have been assess and remediate within these programs, including Old Fourth Ward Park, the Beltline, Pratt Pullman Yard, Murphy Triangle, along with many others. 306 acres of land became green space. 11 miles of trails were directly affected by these programs as well. So 2020 grant we're currently working on is comprised of these 4 target areas for which the Jonesboro Road corridor is a major portion of it. It kind of mirrors the industrial zoning and old railways across the city from northwest to southeast. As you can see, the NPU-Y and Z are both within Jonesboro Road corridor. I got the impression you guys are very familiar with this from the previous conversation tonight. So it doesn't necessarily have to be within this location. It can be anywhere, but these are the preferred target areas for a site. In 2017, funding was used for phase 1, phase 2, or phase 2 and USC removal at the corner of Jonesboro and McDonough. This was a partnership with the FCS to remove the underground storage tanks, do a site assessment, and then a plan for a fast casual restaurant to go in. And in 2010, they did South Bend Park Swan Nature Preserve and Lakewood Fairgrounds and Boulevard with the 2005 assessment grant. So the current 2020 grant is a 3-year grant, runs through September 2023, and there's a $300,000 grant to perform site assessments. The contract with Wood, who I work for, I'm the consultant for the city, was recently finalized, and we are in the early stages of getting sites assigned so we can potentially do phase 1 and phase 2 and cleanup planning. Phase 1 is simply a desktop site visit research, visual research to determine the potential issues that may have been at the site historically or currently, if there's some dumping, illegal dumping activities, and any kind of evidence of pollution. These are called RECs, recognized environmental conditions, and from there we'll go to what we call phase 2. We collect soil, groundwater, building material samples to see if we can narrow down where these environmental issues are at that can hopefully be cleaned up and have them properly revitalized. To start, if you have a site property, there's a nomination form that's to be filled out to kind of give us an idea of the site location. The preferences of gas stations, dry cleaners, industrial sites with development in the next couple of years. We're looking for something that's to move along pretty quick. And then, of course, to leverage the revolving loan fund if needed as well to even get it cleaned up. Sorry. Part of this is also a site access agreement. The city has on a form. We will need the current property owner's permission to access the site. And they should also be aware that the environmental site assessments are open records. Normally in a private sector, environmental site assessments are not necessarily publicly available, but because these are fairly funded, any of our findings will be available to public review. In the history of the site, for the programs, they've had partners with several different organizations around the city to help along with ABI, Groundwork Atlanta up in the Northwest, and then FCS down in your neck of the woods with Invest Atlanta to redo the gas station at McDonough and Jonesboro. For more information, there's a website, atlantagA.gov/brownfields. You'll find the information as well as some of the fact sheet and the site access agreement. Jessica Lavandiere is the City of Atlanta's contact at the Office of Zoning and City of Planning. And I will put my information in the chat as well. But that's, I'm going to open up for any questions now at this point.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions? Allow for one question. Somebody did mention, could you put the presentation in the chat or link to the presentation in the chat?
Yes, and I will email it to the chair or secretary email address for NPU-Y.
Yep. Yeah, you send it there through the proper channels after that.
I will do
All
that.
Thank you.
Here in a second. You're welcome. Thank you all very much.
Yep. And if you all have any further questions, you can reach out to Brian directly, or even reach out to the zoning committee. All right. Currently, Robert Morris is the representative for the Brownfields Advisory Board. Thank you for everything that you're doing, Alex. Oh, Brian, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Yep. All right, moving forward, we're going to move forward to Eat Right Atlanta. Nicole, are you on the line? I do not see her name in the chat. So we'll go ahead and move forward to the Villages at Carver Phase 1 Apartments. Kenyatta?
Good evening. How's everyone doing? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the other members of the NPU-Y. I'm not going to keep up much of your time. Basically, my name is Kenyatta Johnson. I work with the Integral Group on the development team, and I am reaching out in regards to the Villages at Carver renovations. Seems like that we're picking up more momentum on that and getting ready for it to go into our financing so we can start the renovations. We are asking for an updated letter for approval for one of our financing partners, which is Invest Atlanta. Nothing on the renovations from the last time that we presented, which was in August of 2021. There will be no changes with our renovations, but we still plan on renovating the 220 units, and it's a major renovation, mostly cosmetics. So there's no changes on that. We're just asking for an updated letter to present for approval to present to Invest Atlanta.
Yep, thank you. So as mentioned, it was voted and approved back in August. Is the exact renovations is towards Invest Atlanta. So is there a motion, or is there any discussion items before we?
Yeah, if any questions?
I do, Troy. I'm not sure. Why did we have to approve it to begin with? What was the basis for it?
Invest Atlanta requires a letter of support from the APU.
Letter of support. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in this specific case, there's no difference between it. They just want to update as where there's a slight difference. They want to update the date and also update it for Invest Atlanta.
For Invest Atlanta, because the first one was for actually DCA. That was the first letter.
Yep. So is there any
and if you need if anybody needs my information, I can leave it in the chat as well, my contact information.
All right. I'd like to solicit, since there's no difference besides going to Invest Atlanta, I'd like to solicit a motion for a letter of support.
So moved.
Moved by Gloria.
I'll second.
Seconded by Nicole. Is there any discussion points? All right, seeing none, all the closing out discussion at this point. All those who are in favor for doing a letter of support for Invest Atlanta, please use the raise hand feature at this time. In order to be a voting member, you must have attended 3. This is being your 3rd out of the last calendar month.
18, 19. Oh, never mind.
20,
21.
22, 23. Wow.
Lots of people voting tonight.
Tally of 24.
All right.
Final tally. Oh, no,
Oh,
25.
25. Okay, 25. All right, I'm going to close it. Close it now. So I guess that test message worked. We got a lot of voting members. All right. All those who wish to oppose, please use the raise hand feature at this time.
None in opposition.
All those who wish to abstain, please use the raise hand feature at this time.
No abstainers.
All right, 25-0-0. So I will
Unanimous.
update the letter for you all and get it to you all shortly.
All right, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you need anything, please let me know anytime. You can call me.
All right, thank you, Kenyatta.
Thanks.
All right, moving on. Planners report. Krishana?
Yep. Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. Sorry for my tardiness. I had bad signal and I'm learning to drive because we're officially back at City Hall. Tonight on the planners report, I have 3 items. I'll go ahead and begin with item number 1. On March 10th at 6 p.m., the NPU University hosted its introduction class to the Parliament procedures. This class is gone, but the video recording is available for you guys online. So I highly recommend you go back and watch that in your free time or listen to it on an open podcast. Any questions about item number 1 tonight? Okay, I'm hearing none. Okay, item number 2 on the evening is that the city of Atlanta is commencing its annual process for the capital improvement elements and its updates with the CDP. More information will be coming your way. And this will be available for online submissions for grant programs coming out there. So I'll go ahead and drop that link in the chat portal for you guys in case you have any questions about that. And as soon as the link goes live, you'll see that on the NPU agenda next month. Any questions about item number 2 tonight? Okay, I'm seeing none and hearing none. Thank you. Okay, and the last item this evening is that the short-term rental ordinance goes or went into effect on March 1st. The ordinance allows residents and their tenants to rent their primary residence to short-term visitors. There is an application that takes place. It costs $150 to run a short-term rental. Some of these may be popping up with ADUs in the area. The license to obtain this is also for advertisement issues. So that cost is $150 and it's a 2-page application. And then I have a copy of that application that I'll drop in the chat portal. That will conclude my planners report for the evening. Any questions?
All right, is there any other questions for the benefit of the body?
Yes.
Gloria?
Yeah, Christiana. So
Yes,
am I
ma'am.
understanding that as of March 1, the short-term rentals goes into effect and the only requirement is that you register it for $150? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
And what if you don't register it?
There's going to be a penalty that's going on. So I requested from the person that's in charge of this, Ms. Baker, Alicia Baker in the Office of Buildings is kind of going to be the Airbnb guru, the ADUs. There's going to be a penalty from it, some sort of like citation. But I asked if there's is it going to be civil? Is it going to be a illegal crime? I kind of am waiting on answers for that and I haven't got one and it's not included in the application. But the $150, I asked where that $150 is going in fees to our Department of City Planning. And I suggested that it go to the NPU system if they're collecting fees, but
That'd be
we'll
great.
see how that goes up.
Thank you. I'd like to solicit a quick motion to extend the meeting 10 more minutes, but it's probably not gonna go to 9:10, but just wanna do a quick motion.
Motion to extend, Heather.
Motion by Heather,
Omar second.
second by Omar. Is there any opposition? All right, Kelly Jean,
Sorry, I was muted. So you mentioned that the short-term rentals could be ADUs or someone's primary residence. What about like investment properties? Like the house across the street from me, somebody owns it but doesn't live here, but they rent it as an Airbnb.
Yes, those will be included.
Okay.
So it's anything that has previously been illegally operating. Now there is a process in place to register Airbnbs, VRBOs, ADUs within the city if they're using it as a short-term rental. And there is very specific guidelines on what a short-term rental by definition is. And even though we know that a lot of the definitions in place in the Code of Ordinance, although they might be allow us to have a process procedure, that does not mean that there's a process to really hold people responsible, because it's not a condition, it's not fully bounded. But a lot of people have already begun to register the Airbnbs, my understanding. So that's going to be the process moving forward. And as more details come out about this application process, and then I get more answers from Ms. Baker, I promise to bring them back to this NPU, just because I know that a lot of the zoning districts in this area do allow ADUs to be built. And there's duplexes and triplexes and quads in this area as well. So I have understandings, but if you guys have additional questions you need me to answer or forward to Ms. Baker, feel free to email me and I'll definitely will get those answers to you. My turnover time is usually by the next NPU meeting, if not prior to that.
Paul?
I guess if I read the legislation, I'd find that, but what prevents someone from making a short-term rental a party event space? Recently, there was an article about where a judge, municipal judge and friend of Cassine Reed, had a party and had a marching band going in and out of the house. So is there any one of the real problems is that the people who do the short-term rental do it for event-specific things that create a lot of noise and traffic. So I just wondered, is that the special information in there? Because
So Paul, to directly answer your question, I'm going to answer it in two parts. The first one is by zoning. There is zoning ordinance that was passed about party houses specifically in the legislation now. There's like codes and processes to what we call these so-called party houses based off of the incidents that had occurred back into, we're in 2020. So 2021 is what you're referring to. So there is definitions in there, and there are definitions over those party houses and those incidents that occurred. So what would qualify as that? And there are certain zoning classifications that you can apply if you're having a event at one of the larger, not so urbanly dense areas. There's something known as you guys know, a special use permit that could be applied for. This would mostly take place in zoning classifications, which is R1 through R3. But the likelihood of, even if an applicant comes in to apply for that, the likelihood of them being approved to operate such an entity or facilitate such a thing on site would not match the qualifications for the special use permit because there's 13 criterias that go into that. And if you're not meeting those criterias, you wouldn't be able to do that. So there's that barrier for those things that is currently in place through the Muni Code. And the second portion is the fact that these short-term rentals and the process for this, and for us as city officials and public servants and people who want to optimize the use of their land. This is just an added application process to allow them to create a social and economic wellness of their lot. I really firmly believe that the application process and the criteria will be built upon as we go through the zoning reform. But right now it's at its simplest phase, so it's at infancy. But if you have questions or full concerns about specific areas in that application, once you look and review it, feel free to send those things my way, and I will forward them to Ms. Baker, because like I said, she's the point of contact. But I will get your questions answered to you and your concerns responded to. I hope that relieves you on both sides a little bit.
Thank you. Then we're gonna allow for one more question. Jeff?
Yeah, real quick, did I hear you say that the enforcement on this isn't really strong yet? And then two, is there going to be a limit to how many Airbnbs can be in one particular area, and how would that get enforced?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Jeff. So yes, like I said, I just want to this process is in its infancy stage, and I'll be honest, there's not like a dedicated zoning inspection for this at this time because of that infancy that is in place. And we will be tracking this, from the ground up for the first time. The history of the city hasn't really tracked or researched this. So I don't have a lot of pros and cons for you for this, but I will say that typically ADUs, the way the legislation is currently written up on them, the way the Office of Design interacts with them, there's a parent property and then there's a sibling property or a child property. And the parent property is the traditional single family residential, and the ADU is a small, which is, we're not allowed to use this terminology, but is also more known to the public as tiny homes or tiny homes facility. And in those ADU infrastructures, there are development controls that tell you how big it could be, how small it can be, how many occupants can be in this space. Now, those are the development control parts of it that we have access to limit things of that nature on the operational side of it. But also the other part is the application part of it. So every new ADU that is going to be running through the city of Atlanta, that's in a traditional conventional zoning, which is R1 through R5. When that ADU comes on our radar, now that this program and this application process is in its infancy, we're going to be able to tell that person, that applicant, that ADU, if it's planned to use if it's going to be used as a way to get alternative funds on your site. That means you're going to do Airbnb, VRB, or a short-term rental lease of 1 month to 2 months on this site. You're going to have to do this application process. That way we have like those two-pronged things there for that. Did that answer your question, Jeff?
Kind of. For us, it's not an issue of ADUs. It's an issue of primary homes being used for Airbnb. I have about 8 that I can walk to within 2 blocks, and so that, for me, it's not necessary. Your answer was perfectly clear as it related to ADUs, but I guess my question was more just in general outside of ADUs.
Yeah, so for the primary one, I don't have an initial response to you because we can't truly, in the entitlement process, legally, we can't tell somebody what they can and cannot do if they are trying to maximize the use of their lot. Legally, we can't do that, but we can put a process and a procedure in place that says, if you're not living in your primary residence, I don't know how this will grow in the application process, but we may be able to put a limitation on it. like we do with the code on accessory dwelling units. Like you can't have more than 2 accessory structure units. Maybe there's a opportunity, since this application is in its infancies, as it grows and Ms. Baker establishes it, she can go ahead and say, well, this applicant can't have 10 Airbnbs in 1 block radius. I feel as though it will grow in that way to answer that primary property concern that you have. But as of right now, it's still in its infancy and I don't have a solid answer to give to you, but I will take your comments back about the primary property. And like I said, if you have any more, please just feel free to send me an email because I track everything. And I like answers. So I definitely will come back with one. It may be one you like or not like, but I will try to get the best answer for you.
Thank you very much for your honesty. That's a great answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson.
No problem. We're gonna move forward to any announcements before we close out.
Rebecca has one, right?
Oh, is that new business? Is that where we're at?
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, Rebecca.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, before you go ahead, Adrian, then we're gonna move over to Rebecca. My apologies, I totally forgot about that.
It's okay.
So I dropped it in the chat. We're having another grant writing academy. It'll be 2 half days in April, and then it'll follow up with 2 half days in June. And please email me if you're interested. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. For those who, before we close out, I did forget one item that Rebecca's going to mention is actually towards the Park Pride. Go ahead, Rebecca.
So a lot of you are familiar that we've been partnering with Eco Addendum to do some work in South Bend Park. We're just preserving a attractive old growth forest there, removing garbage and invasive species. So we're just soliciting a letter of support from the community so we can apply for the Park Pride grant and continue the work that we're doing there. So if I hope that the community will support our efforts. That's all I have.
All right. So I would actually like to solicit a motion for the Park Pride grant for a letter of support.
Motion to support Park Pride grant, Heather.
All right, motion by Heather.
Second, Gloria.
Second by Gloria. All those, I'm gonna drop her hand, Adrian. All those who are in favor, and this is simply a letter of support to Park Pride for the work that Rebecca just mentioned towards South Bend.
Tally of 17.
All right, 17.
Sorry, 19.
19.
Went back to 18.
We'll lock it at 19. Clear off feedback. All those who wish to oppose a letter of support for the work.
None in opposition.
All those who wish to abstain.
No abstainers.
All right, motion carries. What's the number?
Tally was 19-0-0. 19 in favor, 0 in opposition, 0 abstainers.
All right, 19-0-0, motion carries. So
Is that correct? That's correct, isn't it, Heather?
Yeah. It's correct, yep.
All right,
Okay,
is there
thank
any
you.
other, no problem, sorry about that, Rebecca. It's totally escaped my mind.
It's okay.
Is there any other announcements?
We are doing a Amazon wish list for Ferguson Elementary. So I will be sending that out, but that just means we need supplies, fun toys for K through 5th graders. And the education committee is working to be a direct partner with Perkinson, and we hope to, in the future, do that work with Slater as our other elementary school in our actual NPU. So we're going to send out that Amazon wish list using that cool text message service in the next week. Please, please, please click it and send us stuff for our babies, because they're preparing for a state test the first week in May. We want them to be really excited about taking that test, and having validation helps, even if you don't believe that process or that ideology of rewards. But I do think it is really powerful. So I will send you the wish list. All you gotta do is click, and your items will get to Perkinson Elementary, because we're starting a school store. Yay!
Thank you. Paula?
Monique, will you remember to put a link when you send that out for Perkinson to PTA memberships, because they also need help growing their PTA.
Amen. We do. Great
Amen.
club. We do.
All right, thank you. I look forward to getting it.
All right, is there any other announcements?
Troy, would you resound on Kanika again to see if she returned, to give us a little update on?
Oh yeah, I see Kanika. I see her. Kanika, do you have anything to say towards Lakewood finance? Yeah, I didn't see any report to my knowledge. So I'll reach out to him offline, and I'll send that via chat. Is there any other announcements? All right. With hearts and minds clear, I'd like to solicit a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, Heather.
Second,
All right.
Rebecca Robinson.
Motion by Heather, seconded by Rebecca Robinson. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. All right. Meeting is officially adjourned at 9:17. As usual, I will keep the conversation open for any comments, concerns, feedback, and or just praises.
Bye, y'all.
All right, talk to you all later.
Good
Bye,
meeting
Adrian.
all. Thank you. Good night.
Adrian, give me a shout. I sent you a special message.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, Kashana.
You're welcome.
From, Troy, from the map.
Oh, let me
that,
close. Let me stop the recording.